You're live. We are now live and direct. Let's go. And hopefully, camera looks good. It should still be okay. I changed some settings and then changed them back because I wanted to make sure that, yeah, settings were good. So, yeah, everybody that voted for this module, there was 3 modules. There's this one, which is offset. I thought it said overdrive, but it's offset boost attenuator. Or, yeah, no. Yes, no. It's offset boost attenuator, yeah, OBA. So that was the one module. And then there was the twin T drummer, which if everybody would have voted for that one, we would have had to wait a while because there's a chip that I don't have, and that's the 4011, which is actually, I think, the driving force behind this module. But I didn't have that one. Looks good, Scruff. Hey, welcome aboard. I'm glad y'all are here. So this one, I have everything already on hand. This one, let me tell you something fascinating here. Now, I'm not going to bring it up on the screen because I don't want to mess with OBS and mess up the stream, which could happen. But there's something ironic about this, and we're gonna. It should be fine. It should be fine. But for the overhead camera, right here, let me bring it up to the camera. Focus. Stop looking at the background. I gotta block the whole background before it'll focus on my hand. That's a shame. There we go. You see how that says T8 LO5? All right, T8 LO5. I mean, rather, 78 78 LO5. Now, let me show you something. Come out of this drawer. I do not have mercy on drawers. I will open you up. Look at this, right? Now, this package is a 7805. Now, here's the thing. These are big. These are rated for like 1 milliamp. No, I mean 1 amp. There's a slight difference in the L7805, and this is the package that the L7. It's the L78L05. I mean, when I say it's different, I want to write it down in big print. Hold on. Let me write it down in big print. There's 2. There's the L7805, and then there's the L78L05. Like, for visuals, that's how close they are. Now, in terms of what they look like, I don't have an L05, but it comes in a package like this, and it's rated for 0.1 milliamp. So we have a 0.1 milliamp and then a 1 amp. Well, because I don't have the right one, we're gonna try. We're gonna try this damn thing, right? And I don't know what's going to happen because everything else is exactly the same. It's just rated for more current. So theoretically it should be fine. And I'm laughing because it's like it's so close, and I'm like, I could have sworn I had the 78L05, and I searched and couldn't find it. And I really didn't know what to do. I'm like, I know I had one. I could have sworn I had one. And then I started realizing, wait a minute, I do have something similar. And that's what made me think I had one, was that this is an L7805 instead of an L78L05. And I'm like, oh, man. So I did order the right transistors. They're voltage regulators, I'm sorry. So I bought the right ones, and they're on the way. But I want to build this thing anyway. So we're going to try one of these. and we'll test it. Why not? I mean, I can just unplug a existing module. I don't have to make up a cable immediately. I mean, I would like to go on and make one up today, but we can test it. Why not? I mean, whether you'd see it, I'll see what I can do about my camera. Maybe not. Anyway, and then the other thing, there is one other thing, is that this switch, I didn't know this was a specific, where is it, on the back? Here it is. This is a momentary trigger switch. It's on, off, on, momentary. I don't have a momentary on, off, on, I don't think. I'm going to double check. But I think all of those, yeah, none of those are the switch kind. Those are buttons. All right, so all I've got are the actual switch, which means I'll have to like hang on to it and just kind of blip it, which is fine for the sake of test, but I will change that out. So there's a couple of heads up just ahead of time. Oh, this is going to be funny because that's a small package, and I'm about to put a big Bessie in there. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. The modulation station, I haven't got a tracking number on it, so I don't know when it will be on the way, or if it's supposed to actually be already on the way, I think. They said they would ship it out Tuesday, so I imagine it's already on the way. And if that's the case, last time from the date of shipment, I didn't realize I read that wrong, by the way. That was my mistake. I read that it took a month. Well, it did take a month from the order date, but it didn't ship until the 15th. So it only took 8 days from shipment. So in case anybody was wondering, that was my mistake. It only took 8 days to ship. And these modules got here yesterday. I would have put them together yesterday, but they got here so late that I didn't want to just dump a live stream just immediately, well, live, and then everybody, I missed it. I didn't know it was going to be today. And that would have been my fault. So yeah, I didn't do that. But anyway, the only thing I'm waiting on that I really want, though, is that modulation station. I really want it put together. I think I'm going to get these jack sockets out of the way. I need 7 of them. But I bought some more jack sockets and some more knob covers because I'm going to run out of all of this stuff before that modulation station gets here. So we should be okay. I think I've got every part available. So yeah, let's get this put together. I want to hear what it sounds like. It's supposed to be where you could plug your guitar into the synthesizer, if I'm not mistaken. That's what the boost is for, right? And then you can attenuate louder signals or offset a signal. So like, I don't know what that does. It offsets the signal, just like it sounds. But I don't know what it sounds like to offset a signal in synthesis in person. That's what I mean, just to be specific. All right, so this is the board that actually, this says repeats backwards and wave backwards and trigger back. Did he move that to the back of the thing and not mirror? Oh, that's funny. I love it. That's a mistake I would have made easy every time. All right, so these are gonna go like this. Cool. So we want to make sure those are all facing bottom right. That's how I go ahead and place them in the panel, just so I don't have to keep referencing the board the whole time. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing good. I've been contemplating a design that I cannot wait to put together. I've already sent a message off to Sam because it actually is. I'm gonna have to borrow some schematics. It's all right. In order to control more than one oscillator, you'd have to have a potentiometer that basically is like, you'd have to have like a 5-gang potentiometer, right? I don't know. It starts getting a little bit tedious to think about that sort of thing. So I was trying to think of something that's, it may not be the most efficient way, and it may not be the only way, but it's the way that my brain decided to go with it. Taken an Arduino, and it's a 5319 or something. I don't know. I'll have to go look at it again. But it's a digital potentiometer, right? And it's got a high wiper, or a high point, a low point, and a wiper. And you can use the Arduino to control it, right? So you can also use the Arduino to see what the tuning is of an oscillator, right? Follow me? So you take the main Arduino, that's the one that's telling you what tune you're in on your first oscillator, and it takes the tuning straight off of it from, I think, ramp output, and that's how it gets its tuning. And then it outputs what the tuning is. It doesn't actually do any tuning, but you could then write the code in Arduino to set a reference voltage, right? To set a potentiometer to a certain correspondence. Like, okay, let's say the main oscillator Arduino is reading a C, and you want everything to be a C. So you send one of those outputs to the sub Arduinos and say, hey, adjust until the output that you're reading says C. You see what I'm saying? So the main one is telling the lesser ones, the main Arduino is telling the slave Arduino which tuning to go to on its digital potentiometer, rather than individually tuning them with one knob. Because the problem there is, yeah, if you used one knob, you could change the tuning of all of them at the same time, but they're not going to be in tune with each other at all. There's no way. And the reason for that is because a potentiometer is a variable resistor. It's not doing anything digital. It's not reading anything. It's not matching anything. It's just existing. So, come on, get in there. I'm over here talking and not even building. I'm sorry. But this is an info dump I've been thinking about heavily. And I really think it's possible. I think it's easily possible to do. I've got 2 Arduinos on hand, so I could mock up a main board and a sub board to test this theory. And the only thing I would have to do is basically build a whole new VCO and take one of the chips. I'd have to unplug one of the chips out of the socket of my 5-stack oscillator as a test. So that's been on my brain. That's what's been on my brain. A way to synchronize tune, not just synchronize change, but synchronize tune. Well, I mean, I guess as many oscillators as you could slave to the main one. I'm chilling, saying, will you install? They're not smart lights, they're dumb LEDs. The control module is not Arduino. Anyway, but so yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what's in my head. I'm thinking that that's easily possible to tune as many oscillators as you have Arduino subboards linked to the main board. And I already sent the message and the model number of the digital pot and everything to Sam. I don't know if he'll be interested in doing it or not, but I know for one, I want to, because if I can make it happen, Captain, that would be nice. Because think about it this way. I've got 5 oscillators in one VCO module. I guess that wouldn't be one VCO, would it? It would just be one oscillator module. But anyway, 5 of them. If I can get a setup to where I set the tuning of one and all 4 of the other ones follow suit, yo, we're talking polyphonic tuning right there. Yes, let's go. That's amazing. I can see a lot of use in that. That's worth the time to figure out how in the world to do it. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, it's very useful, because you're setting tuning based off of, well, the main tuning, and you're taking the output of each oscillator and corresponding it to the tuner portion of the circuit. So like you would actually need to add a switch unless you got rid of 4 knobs. You would either have 1 knob and that's it, or you would have switches to disengage the tuners. To transition from tuning, you would need an on-off on. So transition from the tuner to the knob that just freehand tunes, if that makes sense. Like, I guess you would label it slave or solo. Are you you following me so far? Does that make sense? I hope so. Maybe I'm not crazy. So I guess that's a matter of opinion. Anyway, so that board is put together. Let us get started on this board. I'm excited about being able to do that. And there's already plenty of mock-ups on controlling digital pots with an Arduino. But using the tuner of the main oscillator to set the tuning of the sub-oscillators, I don't think that's been done yet. But you heard it here, so if you're capable of doing that, do it. Let's make a video about it, or you make a video about it and show me. I don't care. I want to see that happen somehow. I'm gonna put diodes in first this time. Shake it up. Mainly because I see a lot of them. I see 4 right here in front of me. Oh, 1N 4148. Can't it run Doom? Probably. I've got a Raspberry Pi 400 keyboard. I think it could run Doom. It'd be fun, wouldn't it? I would play Doom on it. I would sure try. I run Minecraft on it. I've got a Minecraft server on my Raspberry Pi. So when I'm bored, I'll load up the server on my Raspberry Pi and get on my main computer and play on my own little sandbox and build stuff. I mean, I could go on a regular public sandbox too, I suppose, but I don't know. Something about having your own little playground. It's kind of nice. Yeah, so that Cinco de VCO might actually earn its name, because the Cinco part was because of the soft sync and hard sync. Being able to sync them to one another, that would be even better. So that idea, I've written it down, I've recorded it a couple of times because I will forget. Somehow, some way, I always manage to forget certain things. And with this one, I feel, oh, there was another diode. With this idea, it needs to happen. It really needs to happen because, well, there's a lot of people with a lot of oscillators. You know? That needs to happen. Just like the tuner, right? The tuner needed to happen. We musicians of all sorts need a tuner, because even though our ears may be good, sometimes you don't want to spend an hour and a half figuring out which instrument is the most in. But anyway, so the tuner module already exists. The VCO module already exists. Merging the two schematic already exists. And the only thing that doesn't exist is that rather than just telling you the tuning, is it changing the tuning? I don't see that being all that difficult to accomplish. Although I've never done it. This is just an idea floating in my head right now, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. And you know, maybe somebody out there maybe has an Arduino or two. You would need two. The main one and a sub one, I guess. If you had all the oscillators on a single board, it's maybe you could get away with one. I don't know, but I think that's a limitation, that you would need one per, because you wouldn't want to bog it down and latency become a big issue. Because can you imagine? It would kind of sound neat though. You turn one and they sound like the THX, everything trying to come into tuning. Are the tiny people in the oscillators going to reestablish the... I don't know. I'm not Yeah, I'm just gonna clip these everywhere. Why not? I don't think those are the magnetic ones. What are we on to? Let's see. Let's do the resistors since there's 100K and there's a bunch of 100K in my face. But yeah, so that's think of it this way too. If you could set the tuning of oscillators, you could do that with filters, amplifiers. There's a lot of things, because it's just, you're literally just setting a digital pot. But if you were to have it controlled based off the output of different things like oscillators and filters and stuff like that, there's functionality, I feel like. I'm gonna do it though. I've got 2 Arduino. I just haven't done anything with them. I wasn't sure what to do with them. And now I'm pretty sure of what I want to do with them. And that's gonna be, I want to make a synced tuner. I want to make a Arduino synced tuner. Do you understand how excited I am right now? Like, can you imagine? Bro, I set the tuning of 25 oscillators in 1 second. No, you didn't, you lie. No, the power of Arduino. I told this one what to do, and it told those what to do. Ah, so nice. And you could daisy chain, well, you would want to daisy chain them, but if you could get them all to like send one signal together to all of them, that would be preferred. That would be the preferred way, because if you daisy chain them, then you're introducing latency as you go along, the further down you go. So you would end up with the THX detuned tune-up sound for a minute. And you may, I mean, it may go fast enough you wouldn't perceive it. It's no telling. I don't know. I've never done it. As far as I know, it's never been done. I mean, it might have been done and somebody never made a video on it or documented it. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just saying. I've never seen one. I've Googled it. I've tried Googling it. I've tried looking on YouTube. And all I come up with is somebody has either made a digital potentiometer controller using an Arduino or an oscillator, but never the two put together. If there's an Arduino in the mix, it's generally to tell you what the tune is. And you wouldn't be setting the tune based off of a resistance. You'd be setting it based off of a like an if statement check. So like if the tuning is within the 10% or whatever. So you're still not gonna be exact, but if you can get within 5 to 10% tuning, I'd call that great. Especially with only one knob. And okay, all right. You wouldn't be able to afford this, but let's just say hypothetically speaking, you were to do that on the Kilodrone, the 1,000 oscillator Megadrone. Just saying, that's a lot of Arduino, a lot of juice. But just think of it just for half a second. You wouldn't have 1,000 knobs. You'd have one knob with 1,000 Arduino. Can the Arduino run Sentinel? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know enough about them. I've actually never used an Arduino. I just know that it's code-based, and I've worked with code before. Coding is relatively straightforward. It's all logic. If this happens, do that. For this, do that. Not while also doing. I know that. I know that's not exact, but still. I have written code. It just not for Arduino. I've written like C# and C++, some LSL, HTML. JavaScript was not the most predominant thing in my list of coding languages. It should have been. I should have had Java up right on up there. That would have been nice. But oh well. I don't need it. I don't need it. Not right now. What I need is my coffee, which is behind me, I think. But yeah, this module is called, hey Liz, how's it going? Oh dang, I missed, it's 4:25. But the module is coming along for those of you on TikTok Live. I forgot to mention, dang, wow, I totally forgot to say, if you're on TikTok and you want to see what's actually going on in my hands, there's a play button on my profile. You can go to the YouTube and check out the actual live stream. Did I put the last 100K in? I believe I did. Cool. So now we can put in 1K. I actually bought 1,000 of these because of that LED sphere I've made. And it only took 500 of them. Or maybe I bought more than 1,000. I don't even remember now. I bought quite a few, and it used up. It weighs a lot just because of the resistors. Well, that and the LEDs. But if you guys have never seen that, it's actually my YouTube profile picture. This is that LED sphere I'm talking about. Just bring that in the picture. Look at there. There you go. There's the interior guts of the LED super sphere, which I have actually taken apart for a video because somebody wanted to see the inside of the forbidden. We're not going to talk about what it could look like, but anyway, for TikTok viewers, that's all point to point. Yeah, that was a build. All right, so we were at the 1K resistance. And I know there's more than one of those, so we can throw that paper out. But yeah, I just noticed I had the modulation station bill of materials still printed out. That joker is huge. It is so huge. Like the amount of components, it tells you on the bill of materials ×4. Everything ×4. I'm just like, I'm not, no pressure, no worries. I should have 4 of most of that, right? Except for the LFO chip. I didn't have the LFO chips. Well, I got those in a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, all right, so we need a 10K. But once I got all of the stuff in, I'm pretty sure I got everything I need to put it together, so when it gets here I don't have to wait to put it together. We can just, well, I would probably say set up a heads up stream, that way you guys, if you want to see it, can. Was that the only 10K resistor on the whole board? Wow. Well, we definitely need 10 ohms, which is up here. I love these drawers so much. We needed 10 ohm for the power. There it is. Uh-oh, my phone's doing stuff. What is it doing? I can't. Can I read that? Oh, the Momentary switch shipped already. Wow, that was amazingly fast. We ordered it on Livestream and it shipped on Livestream. How about that? That's amazing. Appreciate that if you happen to be the seller. That's cool. Anyway, so what do we need? We need no more of those. So yeah, I'm excited about I want to do a full tour of this synthesizer. One of my fellow synthesis people, I say acquaintance for anybody on YouTube, by the way, because somebody said this while we were building, what were we building? The LED control module. They said my friend Sam. I'm like, well, a friend might be a stretch, and I didn't mean that ugly, by the way, but it's more like we talk to each other about channel stuff. So I would call that like an acquaintance, because usually with friends you kind of know each other in real life, you know, a little bit, right? To a degree. And I didn't think about how that sounded when I said it in the moment. I was like, I didn't mean that ugly. Somebody messaged me and said, are you mad at them or something? I'm like, no, I just don't actually know them for real. I just happen to send them a message every now and then about an idea or about an order or something, and that's it. Otherwise, I watch their channel. They have I the amount of stuff that they build puts mine to shame, like for real. If you really want to see some sure enough amazing builds, you really should go look at Look Mom No Computer. They're on a whole different level. I will eventually get to a level of degree where I can build the ideas that are in my head without struggle. I'm just not there yet, but they are. So if you like watching this stuff, you should check them out too. That's a 4.7. I know, but anyway, so the other acquaintance, Benji does synthesis. I might have to tag them in the comment section. I asked them, I'm like, is there going to be a full synthesis tour soon? And they said, unfortunately, it's taken apart. And I said, what? And they sent me of course, there was a link in it. I go look at this link, and every module they got on their synthesizer is laid across the workbench. And I'm like, that is a lot more than I thought there were in that thing. It's so big. And it's completely taken apart. I said, oh. So it's going to be a minute before I get to see that. And they build acrylic. Theirs are acrylic. Mine are all PCB. I'm following the design here, like them being made out of PCBs, because I can design it and then order it, and it'll get shipped to me, and I know that it'll fit together. Like the designs, whenever you build footprints on top of each other, it makes it easier to know that it's going to fit. That's actually what I do a lot of times. After I'll make custom footprints for a potentiometer, I'll line the footprint. When I go to make the face panel, I'll make the face panel schematic. I'll drop the symbols and everything on the schematic file. And that forces KiCad to say, okay, well, now you've got to do a PCB design. So then I click on PCB design and drop all of the stuff just on the plane. I don't do anything with it. I just make sure that there's a completed file. And once it's all the way completed, then I exit KiCad all the way together completely. And then I'll go to the folder and open the PCB design that I just made, the blank one. And I'll hit an option called append board, and I'll open whatever's going behind it. And that way it drops the design from that board on the unmade design of the face panel, and then I can design the face panel around what goes behind it. Makes it super easy, and it fits every time so far. Like every time. Just take a little bit of patience. Don't get in a hurry. Don't rush yourself. It works, and it's really cool to plop it together, because you get this little satisfaction of, that's right, I engineered that to happen. I knew that was going to happen. As long as my measurements were true, that was going to be the inevitable conclusion. So nice. That's a lot of resistors for this board. Looks like a little forest. But anyway, since I'm making... I don't know. I don't know anything about game development. I do analog circuitry. I work with analog circuits, analog math, RC, IC, LC. The lambda is equal to the constant divided by the delta. Maybe that's wrong. That was delta equals C divided by F. Apologies. Don't hit me. I'm tired. It's been a day. I still didn't drink my coffee. I've stuck all those resistors in and didn't even take a sip of my coffee. It's probably cold by now. But yeah, I don't know anything about game development there, Gant. I'm sorry. I wish I did. I used to mess around with a program called Dark Basic and the Unreal Editor. The Unreal Editor when it was in Unreal 04. Like as part of the game set, you could use the Unreal Editor. I mean, that was about all I've messed with as far as game design. And even then, all I really did was make modified weapons for Unreal Tournament. I didn't do like an actual game or nothing. That's it's never been an interest. Plus, that's a lot more mental energy than I've got the space for. I've got kids, you know, so I spend a lot of time being a parent. This I can spare a little bit, about an hour or two a week doing a build or working on a design. And here lately I've decided to do some of these designs privately only because it's easier to not think about a camera. I don't have to talk to the camera. I don't have to satisfy any, like, it's too quiet or them awkwardly long pauses, you know. Like that one. I did that on purpose, I'm sorry. But anyway, so it's just, I don't know, some of the stuff I do behind the scenes, like the kids' bunk bed. I didn't do a YouTube video on the kids' bunk bed because, well, it's their bed. I've done some videos on it. I did a short on it to show a friend of mine. I let them see it, and then I deleted the short. You know, sometimes that's a thing. But the design, the LED module, I thought would make a kind of a cool video, so that's why I did the live stream on that. It's because I was actually doing something electronic related, and I was like, hey, that'd be kind of a cool video, maybe. Turns out I'm really thrilled with that design. It's really bright. I love it. It works really well. The only thing is the switch being upside down, but the PCB replacement is finished, I think. I could check that. Probably not right this second, but it'll probably be next week or week after next, because that was something that I had to pay the slow boat shipping for. I dipped out of my normal project funds and into my personal funds, and because of that I didn't have enough to actually get the normal 3-day shipping that they offer. I ended up getting, I think it said something like 16 to 25 days. I'm like, oh, emotional damage. So that one's gonna take a minute. But the only thing that's stopping me from finishing like their bunk bed is that I don't want to put it upside down module in their bunk bed and then them go, why does it turn off when it says on? Why is it on when it says off? All in the name of my kids having a cool little LED controller for their bed. Some cold coffee. Yeah, it's still got some steam. Is it cold in the room? I saw a little bit of steam, but it's cold. It's like lukewarm. That coffee needs a microwave. I'm gonna play the musical leads. Look like a little forest, don't it? Clippity doo dah, clippity day, my oh my, what a day. Just clip those leads so they don't touch. That'd be a good idea. I'm actually, is it a half hour? Oh, we missed the half. I'm so sorry, Liz. My apologies. I need a YouTube chat in front of me. That's what I need. I've got TikTok chat in front of me, but I don't have YouTube chat in front of me. It's behind me. Maybe what I need is one of those like little small monitors that I can send a copy of the video signal to. I don't know. All I know is that I'm excited about this module. This is called the bounce. I don't even know what it's for. This is one of the few. Oh, that one didn't get soldered. Oh well, I'll avoid that one. This is one of the few modules that I don't think I've watched the YouTube video for. Believe it or not, I've actually not seen the YouTube video for every one of the modules I've put together. I'm sorry. I do apologize. I've seen a lot of them. I just haven't seen them all. So this is one of the ones I haven't seen. The modulation station I've seen the safety valve. I didn't see the VC80SR. There's a video for every module, but I haven't seen all of the videos. I've got 14 modules though, so I need to go watch the video for this. That's what I need to do. Go find out what it's supposed to do, and then I'll do it my way, you know? Like if I ever got a drone, I'm gonna go stalk Scruff Dog's page and be like, hey, what's your settings? What's your settings, dude? Give me your settings. Email me a copy. I'm not above asking for somebody's settings. Scruff Dog, I'm sorry. I don't have a drone. I don't think that's gonna happen. That's beyond me. My price range is $10–20 a month on projects and whatever I can squeeze out of other areas like that. I had to squeeze for the modulation. I wanted it. You know what we're gonna do? Those aren't magnetic, but they're sticky. When in doubt, stick it out. Alright, so what can we put in next? We can put in the little bitty capacitors. 4.7 nanofarads. What is that? Oh, 472. We've got 472. Double check that value. 4.7, where was that? That was right here. But yeah, I saw one more. That was 100 nanofarad. What's 100 nano? That's 104, isn't it? Yeah, 104. Oh, I'm gonna have to use one that doesn't look the same. That's okay, little buddy. Oh wait, is this a 104 just floating in the tray? That is a miracle. I would have used the other one. That is totally fine. They don't have to be the same. They can be a little different. Is there any more of those? There's a 47 nano. Do I have that? 473. I do have that. I love it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We've been there a couple of times where I'd get like the MIDI Muso module. I didn't even have the tremor pot to finish that build. That kind of threw me for one. I was like, what? I don't have a tremor pot that fits not one. Alright, so we need 3904. 2N 3904. Here we go. I got a few of them. It's more than the bag says because I've, you know, mix them together. As long as they're the right ones. 2N 3904. Ah, see, look at this. Sam, you brilliant. You got the legs spread out already via the pads. See, my damn thing, my pads were close together on that LED module, and I regret that because soldering is a pain. Now this calls for the this is the 78L05. Remember, we don't have that one, so we're going to have to substitute that one for that big chonkin' Bessie. So I'm going to put it in last because it's really tall. And I'm going to go for the sockets. I need 2 of these. TLOs. I need a TLO 72 while I'm at it. So look at that. 2 sockets in it. Wow, and 1 grab. Cool. And we need TLO 74, which is a 14 pin. Where's the 14 pins? Come on, you eyeballs. There. Let me double check that, but I believe that's a 14 pin. That is a 14 pin. Cool. And then we need TLO 74. A couple of these. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely stalk your page when I get a drone. Got to learn from the best. I can't play music. I'd play that song right now. You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna keep you down. I'll stop. I'll see myself to the door. I'm excited about this modulation station still though, because okay, 4 LFOs. That means I'm officially done with building up the ambient generative synthesizer of my vision, and then I can just start adding stuff to it for the sake of, well, there's so much space to fill, you know, something's got to go there eventually. Why not? There's some, I want to build an LED module, a power module, because I don't like I don't like not having a power switch. So I want to build a power control module. I want to build like kind of a VU meter module just for the sake of visuals. I did that pulse width modulated RGB LED control module. That's in something else on my mind I want to build. I've got a couple of chips on hand. I could build an echo or a reverb module. I'm thinking a reverb module. I've got the chip for it. It's a LM13700, I think. Don't quote me. The other one's a PT2399, and that is a filter, I think. 4 filters. It's a transducer. Am I wrong? I don't know. If I'm wrong, somebody will correct me, and then I'll feel that sting. Like, oh, got it wrong, you noob. Google is your best friend, or your smart device. Mine is not so smart. I ask it a question and it goes, I don't know that. Usually by the time I have to ask a question, my own smart device goes, I can't answer that. You need Google or a book. Smart devices just don't have equational answers unless they're user submitted. I found that out. There's some user submitted answers. Some of those are funny, albeit wrong. Oh, anyway. But yeah, I was just talking about not using up these sockets for the NE555 timers, because I had so many timers versus sockets in the last, like when I built the control module, put it together. And I think I've actually got a lot less sockets than I originally thought for 8-pin, and that's because I've also in the past used them for the LM386, which is like a little DC audio amplifier, I guess. I think it's an audio amplifier. It might just be a regular op amp, I don't know. I know what it's for, and that's something I use in a guitar effects pedal, or to boost a microphone, like to, if you want to make a little microphone circuit, that's what you can use it for. What time is it? 4:50. Have to take my woofle on the hour. Looks like, because I missed the half hour. I missed the half hour because I was busy looking at this board. That's not everything. That's the capacitors left. And then we get on to, we're gonna try something really not according to plan, and that's, rather than using the L7, rather than using the L78 L05, we're going to be using the L7805, which has a current handling difference. I don't think the rest of it is different, according to the data sheet. One of them uses a 300 nanofarad capacitor instead of a 100. I don't think that matters in synthesis. Never had it matter before. So, I'm not going to sweat it, but that is the last component on this board, I think, except for the pins. And you always put, the way this goes together, this goes on the face panel side, and because it's closest to the face panel, your sockets go on the control board. And then on this one you put the pins, because whenever you plug this in, it's going to sit down on that. And I just saw something. Those LEDs have to be soldered in between. Oh, that sucks. I'll get to that. I didn't see that before. Whatever. Anyway. So we're going to find out just how mandatory is it to use the 78 L05 instead of the 7805. It should be fine. Should. But if it's not, we'll know exactly what's wrong, because that's the only thing so far that's out of spec. Don't hate me. I'm working with what I got. I wanted to put this together today and not wait another week and a half. So, oh, we need a power header. 10-pin box header. I don't know why I always feel like I'm going to run out of box headers, and then every time I open the drawer I'm like, oh, that's right, you only use really one of those per board. You're not using like 25 for a board like you do the resistors. Don't solder your finger. You just soldered your finger after I said don't do it, you noob. Gargantuan type dinosaur noob. And it's seated at least. That was tragic. I just burnt my finger. Don't solder your finger to the board. Doesn't feel good. Probably not good on your skin. But yeah, I wanted, look, there's a whole reason why I've bought so many of these modules outside of just supporting the museum. It's also because, well, they're freaking cool. They sound cool. I got tickled. I was gonna do all of these designs myself, and the more I looked at it and the more I played around with them, the more I realized, like, why reinvent the wheel? Why don't I find which modules I really like and build them, talk to people who like them, get some feedback. I believe Caustic was the one that recommended a lot of these boards, and so I got them, and so far I'm very pleased with all of them. I have not played all of them. I've got this one, the OBA, and the Twin T drummer, and there's several modules I don't have. Anyway, I'm double checking this. That's so crazy. I forgot that one. That's gonna have to. I'm gonna get a giggle over how big this thing is, because that's not the right. It is, but it isn't. You know. It's either gonna work or it's gonna fail, but I'm glad I've got more than one of them. Oh, this, is it even gonna go? Do I even need to solder that? That's got a pretty good mechanical hold. Let me put minimal, just a minimal dab, like, yeah, there we go. Just a, I'm talking about barely. It's got such a mechanical hold. If this doesn't work, I want to be able to pull that back out of there. We're gonna look at this big bit. Amputate, right? Yeah. All right, so let me put the sockets on there. Any bright ideas, champ? Do you want to share with the class today? Well, what did you do? I soldered my finger to the board while simultaneously telling people not to do that. That's almost perfect. It needs 2 pins taken away. I hope that went in the buggy. Did that go? That's it. Cool. Little cheat. I'll put that here as a marker. Save me counting pins. Maybe it'll save overcutting. Did it work? It worked! Yo, alright. Cool. Future reference. I'm going to put pins and pin sockets before cutting. That'll work. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of Twitch streaming here lately, and I have found an enjoyment in that because some funny stuff happens during the stream, and I'm going, oh, I'm glad I caught that. That is so funny. The only problem is because I haven't reached, I think it's, you gotta have like 50 followers or something like that. It doesn't save it. But because I can stream it, I'm streaming through my recorder, so I'm still recording it. That transistor's, oh, that's so in the way. This is gonna be a tragedy if it doesn't work. But it'll also be kind of funny, right? Maybe something will go bang. There's 3 ways something can fail. There should only be 2 ways, right? There should only be 2 ways. It should either fail spectacularly in a puff of smoke with a bang, or it should work. But there's 3 states. It can either work, it can go out in a bang in a spectacular fashion, or it can just sit there and not do a damn thing and not work. That's also an option. And that is the one that's maddening. Because that's the one you're like, why aren't you, there's nothing hot and it's not working. Why not? That's when, if you have a probe or a voltmeter or multimeter, excuse me, if you have a multimeter or an oscilloscope, but it took me years to afford an oscilloscope, and I had to give up stuff for it. Like, I had to legitimately give up a tube amp, a JCM 800 that I already had. Like, I had to give that up in order to buy an oscilloscope, so it's not cheap. Oh no, there's a resistor loose, and I can't read resistor values. What is this? Who are you? What do you look like? It's orange. Are you like one of these? Is not like the other. Hey, it's 100K. Look at there. We did a comparison match. Close enough. So we need to put in the jackboard resistors. That's what I was trying to find. And these are 10K. Oh wow, they're all different. Let's put in the 1Ks. Da-da-da-da. I think there's only 2 of those. Yeah. I did not see these 2 resistors. Like, I didn't see any of these. For some reason, my brain did not compute. You don't need resistance on the jack sockets. Who needs that? Apparently this board does, though. So we need a 200K. Do I have a 200? I do have a 200K. Look at that. I can just look and glance. Ah, it's amazing. If you're new to electronics and you haven't bought components, don't buy any till you've bought at least one set of drawers that has 68 drawers in it. I wished I would have bought all three of these at one time. I can't afford. I bought one. It was $38 when I first bought it. It was like, no, it was $32. It was $32 when I bought it in 2019. You would think inflation raised the price, right? So the next time I bought it was $48. And I was like, oh, that's not that much. Inflation, okay, sure. You know, the pandemic, that's understandable. But then right immediately after buying it for $48, it said $72. I was, what? I just bought it. And it changed in front of me. And they're going to pull that, well, it's supply and demand. I'm like, yeah, but then I went and opened that same link on my laptop and it changed it. It was a different price. Not logged in, just anonymous browsing. It was back down to like 38 or something like that. So then I looked up the actual bins. They're Acro Mills, a Myers Industries company. I found them online. They're $34 base price, period. That's how much they really are. So they gone up $2 in 2 years. They didn't go up $12, followed up by doubling the price. That's not what really happened. What really happened is Amazon said, oh, we see that you like these. We're going to raise the price on them now automatically. And you can either pay the upgraded price or you can not get them. And that same thing happened to a musician on YouTube, and he said something about it. The guy that made the tuning fork piano, he called it out. He said something about how as soon as he bought them on Amazon, they raised the price on them. Every single time he bought them, they kept going up in price. And I'm like, you know, I get that you have this whole automated system, but that's price gouging, period. Like, automated or not. That was so bad. What's bad is I put all these sockets in, didn't think about the resistors. So now we're gonna play Can I Do It without burning this jack socket, melting the jack sockets. La ta ta ta, la ta ta ta. It's not so bad. Definitely wished I would have noticed those first. I did not notice them, just saying. I literally, my eyeballs skimmed that board because my brain said, oh, there's only jack sockets on that board. There's no reason for there to be resistors on a jack socket board. There is, but my brain said there wasn't. You know? And so, did not compute. We are here now. I'll be glad to have I want to test this today, but I'm also scared of what the synthesizer is going to sound like because I turn it on and it sounds like the way the last time I played on it, and I don't know if I was playing or whether I was just making racket. Sometimes I just make noise on it for the sake of it sound neat. Just saying. You know, I'll turn it on and let it just buzz and just do stuff, like literally just make its own noise. If you have a synthesizer, I'm sure you can relate to that. It sometimes is fascinating just to turn it on and have it self-oscillate. There's a lot of sounds that it'll literally make its own music. That's why you can Google, if you were to type in YouTube like generative synthesis, like generative modular synthesis, there's a lot of channels that do it. State Azure is probably one of my more favorite ones, not gonna lie, because that's his entire thing is modular, generative modular. But they're all really good. Where did those pins? They went over here. All right, so I'm thinking I'm gonna solder that together and then pull it apart. Does that sound like a winner? Winner chicken dinner? 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. I've got 2 different types of potentiometers. They're all the same, but they're different. That goes back under that. They're only slightly different. I'll show you what I mean, because this one I can easily show you. They're like in a slightly different package. Same resistance, same split value, same dimensions on all the criticals, but the height is ever so slightly different. It's just a slightly different package. No idea why. Their model numbers are even different. And they're both sold by TD Electronics, so for some reason they do both. I see the builders live stream over on TikTok has vacated. Everybody got bored. They couldn't see stuff. I don't do these for the TikTok side though. I do these so that if I screw something up, I can reference back to it. The fact that people enjoy them is like added sprinkles and niceness. It's like, yay, people that like this stuff too. But I really do them for the sake of when I mess something up, like I have done a few times, I can just go and find a quick glance and go, well, that's where I messed it up. That's fine. I'll fix that. No problem. Like that, for an example, wasn't a problem, but I got a little bit of solder on the edge of that hole. Didn't want to let those pins through. But yeah, I will do a playthrough on this synthesizer as soon as the modulation station is put together. I want to be able to have LFOs controlling some of the tones, and I don't have well, I do have 2 LFOs technically, but they're on an actual all-in-one synth. It's not a modular synthesizer, it's a synthesizer, like a keyboard, like a keyboard. It's not a keyboard, it's like one. And we're going to use one of those on-off on regular switches for right now, just for the sake of finishing the build. But it does call for a momentary on-off on, just for that reference. And this is such a good mechanical hold, I'm not going to solder that in. That is really tight fitting. I love that. Cool. We're not going to solder the switch in. It'll be fine. It already makes good contact. So LEDs, need a couple of 5mm. One down there. I have had to go and replace some of these LEDs before, which isn't really hard actually. Because of the way they're set up, you can get to them pretty easy. Look at that, like a glove. I love these builds. They're therapeutic. I'm normally running around like a maniac, like Sonic the Hedgehog, trying to collect coins. How close to reality is that for everybody? Running around very fast, chasing coins. Can you relate? There's a washer missing, I believe. Unless I put 2 washers on one. I don't see but one. I'm missing a washer. How did that happen? That is and it's, oh, it got caught via the magnet. I see it. That's why I have a paper bin and a metal bin. Oh, that's one with a fin on it. Never mind. I'll take that. I'll just flip that. Now it's a regular washer. Oh, that's for the switch. It's not gonna fit. That's for the switch. Dang. Well, what happened to the washer that went with the thing then? Maybe that just didn't have one. I might have an extra washer thrown in the drawer. Cool. There's washer. And now where did the nut go? Did I grab one that didn't even have a nut on it? Well, you know what? I've got an extra one of those on the side. That's a weird one. Why is that weird? Oh, thank you. At least I know where they're at. You know, everything's in a place. Everything's easily findable. Cool. Now we can put this on for the sake of holding the switch steady. But again, I'm not soldering the switch in. It's supposed to be momentary, and I did order those momentaries. They're already shipped that fast. So I'll just, for the time being, for the sake of being able to trigger it using the switch, we'll use the momentary when it gets here, and in the meantime use this one. And then if this voltage regulator for some reason is critical and will not work without the smaller one, then it's only barely soldered in and it's got a really good mechanical hold, so we could just desolder just the tip and replace it with the ones that are on the way. But I didn't want to stop the whole build for the sake of a couple of components that are potentially not critical. And I say that because, again, the L7805 is rated for 1 amp, and the L78L05 is rated for 0.1 milliamp, but it's essentially the same board. It's the current pass through, all the everything about it is basically the same except for its handling abilities. So it should be okay. We'll see. We will see. I will test it live though. I can't move my cameras. One of them is just sitting on my desk, but the cable is not just sitting there. It's tucked in and hard to get to. I need to put in the potentiometer leads too. Don't forget those. Those are somewhat important. You know, if you want them to stay attached. La, da, da, la, da, da, da. I like these designs too. They make maximum use of the space.
I'm not done yet, which is all of these, except, and even the ending. I don't know.
I wish I could turn that off. I don't know what that was. I can't even hear it. It was distorted. But yeah, I don't do guest requests while I'm building because I can't focus on guests. I'm sorry. It is already enough to focus on the build at hand. Sometimes even that's a tragedy. Alright, I believe everything is put together now. Double check that just to be sure though. But I believe that's everything on that board. I'll go ahead and put the chips in. And I missed the hour. Lord, I'm in focus. I'm so sorry. I missed the hour and the half hour and I'm not a very good on the time host. I apologize. See, I let you down, Liz. I'm sorry. I can't do it. That ADHD thing just really, my focus is, it's fickle. I'm just glad executive dysfunction has taken a break for a minute. It's been a few weeks since executive dysfunction has kicked in. Oh, that is a whole different beast. Oh yeah, I see your comment in the YouTube chat about the party favors. I can't read that out loud, you know. Some things you just can't read. So op amps are installed. I put the one-shot chip in the wrong spot. I mean the op amp in the wrong spot. The TLO72 is supposed to go down at the bottom. I need to check myself before I wreck myself. Let's go. On the bright side, if it didn't work, that would be definitely why. That would be more priority, I think, over the other chip. Jazan. Alright. Now we are in almost bit. Dang, I bent the shoot. Come on, straighten up. You don't have to be straight, but you gotta go in there. Gotta go in the socket. So I socket all of these synthesizer modules. That was the other reason why I didn't use a socket on those 555 timers, because I use them here, and I've had to use two sockets on this one module that two of them would have been used up on the it takes three if you were to socket all of the stuff. So yeah, I would have been out 2 of 3. Now this just pops in like so. When you have more experienced hands doing the popping it like it's hot. There we go. That capacitor there is touching, and this capacitor is touching. I wonder if that's intentional. The board does clip together. See no issues there. That capacitor, I could have laid that down a little bit. For anybody watching, if you're doing the bounce module, you might want to watch the 10 UF 10 microfarad capacitors along the left side where the control board pins are. You might want a shorter version. Those look fine. No, there is no issue. I can't see any issues. There's no like metal or anything, so they're fine. But if it bothers you that they're that close, I just would say use shorter ones. But they look fine, so who cares? We're gonna stick with it. I've got shorter ones, but it's not worth, like, it's really not. There's no conductivity there. There's no metal above it. It is fine. So, but I know there's some people that don't like stuff to touch, and like they having a little breathing room is not bad, but it doesn't look like that's mandatory here. It looks like that's more of an option. The only thing that's goofy about this thing is the fact that I had to use such a chonkin this voltage regulator on the back. That is so big. Okay, I'm seeing things. My eyeballs. I thought that was, for some reason, it looked like it was bent. It's not bent. Why does it look bent? Ah. I know why. It's those tabs. It's the tabs on the the potentiometers. I forgot to cut those off. That's my fault. It's not important either. It's just it's again, it goes back to how perfectly square. Oh, we're not building a frickin' space shuttle. It doesn't have to be accurate down to the micrometer. It can be within a millimeter. It's fine. It's always me. It's always something I've done. So I don't even worry about it no more. The bright side is the way we put this module together today, whenever I finish soldering the control board pins together, it doesn't have to come back apart. It's done. Wow. What? Those pins are really, they're brass pins. They heat up really quick. So the pins on the actual Euro rack header must be stainless steel pins, because they sure take a second to get warm enough to solder to anyway. Done. Done. That is so. Having that big regulator on the back like that, that's gonna be. Is it gonna work? So let's put some knobs on here. I still want to use up the plastic ones. I don't want to use up my new ones. I'm saving those as long as possible anyway. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. If I can't fit all of the same type of knobs on it, I'm not gonna keep using the older ones. The older ones just look a little different than the newer ones. Knobbity knobs. There's a lot of knobs. There's a lot of switches and a lot of jack sockets involved in this thing. Not in this module, but in like synthesis. Alright, so to test this, first I need coffee. I'm gonna go plug it in and see what it does. There's waveform, rate, repeat, delay, and output. I'm assuming that's the attenuator. It needs to be a temporary trigger. Hey! What? What? That is a temporary. That is a temporary. How did I end up with a temporary? None of these are temporary. What? Hold on a minute now. That's not temporary. No. We have a temporary. It's got a parentheses on it. Right on. Is it triggered both ways, or is it a one-way trigger? Ooh. I see. They're both grounded. They're both grounded. Yo. Hold up. How did that even... We're gonna fix this right now. I don't even care. That's just like the insane amount of luck. I have the right switch. It's not fully right. It's almost right. It's right enough that I will solder this one in. This one is got a momentary side to it. It's momentary on one side or on the other side. How did I end up with... So that means I've got I've got 3 different types of single pole dual throw switches. I've got on, off on, and on off momentary. That's absurd. What do I need? Oh, I gotta take this whole face panel apart. Emotional damage. But we can put the right switch in right now, and I'm not going to be momentarily flipping it upwards. It'll just all be down flips. So, perfect. Perfect. Let's go. Let's do this. That makes me satisfied. That satisfies my need for a momentary switch. Oh, that's so nice. That is, I don't know how I discovered that. That was, I opened the drawer and it happened to be one, it literally happened to be one of the few momentaries. And while this is taken apart, we're going to clip the leads off of these potentiometers so the board will lay flat. Which means every single board doesn't lay flat, because I know I've never noticed that before. I'm not going to worry about it on all of the ones that are already put together, but this thing is, if I've already got it taken apart, I might as well do it, right? It would be a tragedy and a crime to know of a problem and be able to fix it, and it be presented before me and not fix it. That would be the real crime here. Going and tearing apart my synthesizer just to fix a couple of tabs would be a crime too, though. So I'm not going to go and do that. But I will definitely fix this while I'm here. The amount of times I've had to take knobs and washers and stuff, you'd think I'd be an expert by now, but I'm still not. Alright. This just wiggles apart. And while we're here, first things first, we're gonna get rid of all of these tabs. Ooh, safety squints. Safety squints. Safety squints are important. Cool, that will sit level now. So then we can unplug. Do we need to? We don't need to. We can just rock that switch out, drop that in the on, off, on. That was a momentary switch too. What? What? Alright, well, that's fine. We oriented the correct way then. It wasn't oriented correctly because I flipped down and it stayed down. So now, nobody saw that. Cool. Now it's the right way around and it'll do the momentarily switchy bits. It was still worth taking it apart though. Shh. Nobody saw that. That was mandatory. That had to be done. It had to be done because now everything sits flat and satisfactory. I'm good with that. That really does make me feel better. Cool. Now we have a momentary switch that we can just click. Ah! Let's go. I love it when things go... They go right in the least expected ways. Because that means I don't have to worry. I could... I'm going to have to make a whole nother drawer, though, and make some on-off parentheses on. So I know that there's, like, I can actually look over and not grab the wrong drawer. Because that print is so tiny. All I'm seeing is, like, that it's got more than... It's got an off in the middle. That's about all my brain sees is there's an off in the middle. So, I didn't know that I had 2 different types of on-off ons. So I've got 3 total single pole dual throw switches. It happens. Dalmatians, I see you. Welcome to the stream. We're nearly through putting it together. I had to take it apart to flip that switch around so that down is momentary. I did not know that that switch was a momentary. I was actually going to trade it out. But having discovered that it was a momentary, I flipped it over so that it would be, I could just flip it downward, which when you're playing the synthesizer, it makes sense. Because you reach up and you just kind of flick it. Anyway. Just walk up and flick shit on Wanda. How does that feel? Anyway, so yeah, flipping it upwards being momentary, that I didn't even know it was a momentary switch because it was flipped the other way. I thought it was an on. There's so many different types of switches, it blows my own mind. Like, I really can't wrap my head around how many switches I've seen, and they're all basically the same, but they're wired internally different. And then their mechanics are a bit different. They're just different enough, you know? Like in this case, if I held them up side by side, the only difference you could see is that one of the switches, one of the ons on one of the switches is in parentheses rather than just saying on. It says on in parentheses. So yeah, it's like, to my eyeballs, they look the same. Somebody else would probably, that's experienced, knows this stuff, I know. But I'd see, I don't think, I only do. No thinky. These are not the brain cells you're looking for. I hear something or I see something and I want to build it, so I do. That's what's going to happen with that Cinco tuner. Cinco de tuner. Can you imagine? Oh, you know what would be even better? Making that tuner a module. Like, okay, output the waveform from the module to the tuner. Pick one of the oscillators to be your main oscillator. Plug it into the main tuner. Plug all of your sub-oscillator CVs into the tuning out of the sub-tuners. Boom. So you got one input and then it's got 4 output CVs. Boom. Ah, that's a great idea. I love that. Cool. Now we'll solder that one in, because that is an actual momentary switch. And I want to make sure that that does have a good solid connection. But I'm talking, I could use, like, do a waveform in, like, one input, 4 CV outs, for my sake, because you would use one oscillator. You would be using the output of one oscillator to tune the input of the rest of the oscillators, and then you would have to have their outputs. Well, you would do 5 inputs, and you could do 5 CV outputs, but it wouldn't. You would only get 4 of them would be useful. So, say 5 in, 4 out. Yeah, that seems reasonable. And I'm about to sneeze. Oh, it always comes in threes. Why does a sneeze always happen in threes? Is there somebody that does statistics and analysis and has an answer? Or has Google? Somebody. Alright, so let's go plug it in and try it out. The camera on YouTube, you guys, I don't know how to I should set up a separate live stream to test it. I don't know what to do. Do you? That's a negative out and a positive out. different CVs for the waveform rate repeat. I think this is a one-shot self oscillator, if I'm not mistaken. You can input to it, but I'm thinking, bless you, right on. Hey, you know what? We're slightly past the half hour, but we're close enough that I'm going to lean off to the side for the woofle. Self-care for the win. Don't breathe the flux. We need to test this module. I need a power supply on my workbench and a speaker so we can start testing these at the workbench. Dang it. If I try to bring you, you'll be dizzy and stuff. Hold up. Let me just test it and see. We'll just stand off screen and let's see what we can come up with. I gotta power it up off of one of the modules that I'm not using, so like the safety valve. I've plugged it in. So far, hey, we have power. It hasn't blown up yet. One moment. We're going to output from the one shot over into the mixer and see how it sounds. I don't know how it sounds. Wanda is the green one, right? So hold on. I don't hear anything. Why don't we hear anything? Maybe we need an input from something. So let's try inputting from one of the oscillators into it. Oh, I know why we can't hear it. I don't have an amplifier turned on. Alright, so far I'm not getting anything out of it in terms of noise. Well, I see it doing something now. It's not making any noise. That voltage regulator is getting a little warm, but it's not like nothing's burnt yet. I'm not getting any output though. Huh. I wonder if I'm getting any sound at all. that one-shotting? Well, you know what? It might actually be a critical component. So far, none of the chips are getting hot. The caps aren't getting hot. It's just that voltage regulator is getting hot. All right, so I'll tell you what. Let me double check the pin out of this thing. Yeah, I'm glad everything on it mostly works. I'm thinking it's this voltage regulator. I got the pinout correct, right? It's 1, 2, 3 across the front, and pin 1 is square. So with this thing being hot like that, it's getting, or rather getting warm. I'm willing to bet that that is the one that's going to be neat. Like, I'm going to actually have to use the right voltage regulator. I don't see anything that I missed. I'm going to look. So far, the diodes are all correct. Ground pin, that's correct. And then middle leg from the wiper to this thing, which should be the collector. This will be the very first module that doesn't work right out of the box. Like, even with the substituting I've done in the past, all of the other ones worked. So I'm really thinking that this might be a critical. If it's critical, it is on the way. It just means it'll be a little while before this module can be played. It triggers fine. The trigger works. I haven't tested the repeat decay rate and waveform. I didn't test that. This LED didn't turn on at all. I don't know if that matters. I don't know if this not turning on is related to the voltage regulator. I mean, I wonder if that's a bad TLO72. I'm kind of concerned now. Let's see. What does the bounce say? So the leg of the rate between 5 volts and ground. Huh. So 5 volts. This is one of those I gotta figure out what's. Is it a me problem? Well, pin 1, 2, 3. Maybe it's backwards. Let's I'd rather, let's go on and try it. We'll flip it around and see if it's backwards. If it's backwards, it'll work. If it's not backwards, what's the worst that'll happen? It blow up? I'm okay with that. I can replace the parts on it. It's DIY. Do it yourself. Not, oh crap, I broke something I bought at the store. It's a tragedy. Oh my goodness. I mean, I bought the module, but the module itself isn't going to suffer at my hands if I can help it. The components that go in the board, they might suffer. Now let's clip the extra BS off the end, because we're gonna flip this around and see what happens. I should have had it the right way. Oh, emotional damage. I gotta clean those holes out. Get in there. Did I round those off? Made it hard to get in. Need like a miniature blacksmith to reshape the leads. Like a little elf. Get down in there and adjust these leads for me. Pretty sure I had it right the first time, if I'm honest, but I'm giving a little room for the fact that it's not exactly the same component that's supposed to go in. So in the off chance that it is due to the component that I used, and if that doesn't fix it, well, guess what? I've got the right components on the way that are exactly right, just in case. But here's to hoping. I'm gonna go try this and see. Cross your fingers. Is it gonna go bang? Well, it's still getting warm. Hey! Was it backwards? It was backwards! It's working! Let's go! Alright, I ain't gonna lie, that's a really cool module. What you're hearing is I'm hitting the trigger button on it. It's plugged straight into the speaker, and I'm hitting the trigger. So when I press the trigger down, yeah. come back over to the workbench for a moment, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this thing. That is a really cool module. All right, so first, I had it backwards. It was that simple. It really was backwards. For future reference, if you're replacing, we're going to make a this is important. If you're using a L7805CV, it's a 1 amp voltage regulator. If you're using the L78L05, it is a 0.1 milliamp voltage regulator. They both work. Heat sink, if you're using this L7805CV, the heat sink needs to be toward the middle of the module. That's my fault. I did not know. I don't know how to use these properly, obviously. But the flat side of the footprint, there's a flat side and a rounded side, because again, these normally look like a transistor. The one that's supposed to go here looks like a transistor. It's in the same, like, it's in this body here. Anyway, the heatsink is the flat bit. I should have known that. That is my fault, by the way. I'm aware of that. So it works, and it works famously. In fact, I'm going to lay this gently like that, just to make me feel like it won't like graze anything, and I think that'll be okay. So it works great. It actually sounds really kind of cool, and the waveform, you could hear some of it. It's bassy and choppy, and so you got, like, I guess maybe it goes from ramp to square to sawtooth or vice versa or something in there, but it sounds really cool. You definitely don't get an on. It's momentary only, so there's no point in flipping it up. Just always flipping it down. It has a trigger in. I believe that's what that's for. Maybe the input actually controls. I don't know. I haven't played with it. I just tested it to see if it worked, and it works. It's the rate and repeat and everything. It has a really good range to it. I did not test the attenuator, but now that the voltage regulator is in correctly, it works correctly. So that's awesome. We have us a new module called the bounce, 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 bounce. And if you look down here, it actually says bounce to the 7th. You're not going to be able to see that easily, huh? There it is. Bounce to the 7th. I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah. The next module, do I need to put a vote on it? I'm going to have to put a vote on it. I'm going to have to poll it now that I can put the poll on there. We're going to poll it. There's these two modules. There's the Twin T drummer. It's a drum module. And the offset boost attenuator module. I believe one of them's for a guitar. Don't quote me. The one that I can immediately put together is the OBA. The Twin T drummer, I'm waiting on this chip here in the back. It's a 4011 chip. I did order it. Oh, and I don't know about the 100 megahertz solder. Oh. Is that an inductor? 100 megahertz L. Is that supposed to say microhenry? What, isn't an L an inductor? Correct me if I'm wrong, but silkscreen L is an inductor, no? But that says 100 megahertz. Maybe it was supposed to say microhenry. I don't know. Let me show you. I'm going to show it on the camera. It's this thing down here that's out of focus. There we go. That looks like an inductor, but it says megahertz. And I've never seen an inductor in megahertz. I thought they were in Henry, measured in Henry. I don't know, but this drum module, I'd have to wait on the parts for it. I don't have all of those on hand. I've got a 1 meg ohm. calls for 4 1 meg ohm resistors. I've got those. Cool. Alright, so I think that's an inductor though. I really do. Let me look at the bill of materials. That would be very much the useful thing to do. Because I usually, the bill of materials has everything. This is 2700. Although some of these, I don't know how to open a numbers file. Let me look at the twin T drummer file. Maybe that'll help me out. Again, some of these modules I haven't actually. I just saw them on the store and bought them. I have not actually watched every video and learned everything about all of the modules. I don't know. I saw like that looks like a cool one. I'm gonna get that one, and I don't have the valve distorting VCA or like the big button or the Arduino sequencer or the 123 ADC. Definitely don't have the flamethrower module. That's not one you can buy. Anyway, the twin T drummer. Where is that at? That's what I was looking for. Oh, there's some other stuff on here I don't have, like the 2000 Megadrone. Don't have that one. I don't have the Performance VCO. I don't have the VC LFO10. Instead, I bought the modulation station. I don't have... Yeah, there's a lot of the modules that he sells that I don't have. Alright, so that inductor, that is just, it just says L on it. It is just an inductor, but there's... It doesn't say what... It's not on there. It just says L. So it's an inductor for sure. And the bill of materials... Let me go look at it and see. I think it... I don't have any inductors. I don't keep those on hand. Oh, let me turn my soldering pencil off. Got to put some solder on the tip. Keep it from oxidizing. Let's see. So it's a 100 microhenry. I don't think I got any. Did I? Let's see. We're about to find out together. Because if I didn't get the inductor, then I'm gonna have to get one. Let's see. Digikey. I think I would have gotten it from Digikey. Yes, I did. I did buy it. 100 microhenry. Cool. They're back ordered. Oh, crap. So, guess what, guys? We're going to be doing the OBA next. The twin T drummer's going to have to wait. The microhenry, the inductors are back ordered. I did order them from Digikey. They'll be here millihenries. Millihenries. Maybe that's it. I don't... To be honest with you, Scrub Dog, the only thing I've really been kind of focused on lately is learning how to use op amps. I want to get good and familiar with op amps, transistors, diodes, because, well, for an example, this OBA, that's all it uses. Yeah. In fact, all it uses is an op amp and resistors and capacitors, and that's it. If I can, I figured if I got to learn those first, those are pretty much the baseline for everything, including filters, like funky filters and stuff. All right, so yeah, that's maybe it's millihenry, but either way, I got MH. I got I got what was actually linked in the bill of materials on the Look Mom No Computer discourse. Yeah, so it'll still be a while. Call it another. Well, it's back ordered. I don't know. Depends on when the digikey order gets here, because I don't have any inductors. I don't keep inductors on hand. I don't know what to use them for, except for like I could build a Tesla coil out of with an inductor. I don't build inductive circuits. I build resistive circuits and capacitive circuits. Anyway, so the next module will be this one. That's what we'll do. We'll put the offset boost attenuator together next. Sound good? Cool. That's our only option, really. Now the next build thingy that I'm gonna be doing, that's once these modules are finished, because I've been thinking about that. Like, what are we gonna do when we run out of modules to build? Well, remember, there's the Synco knobs. We got to synchronize knobs together. That's a project. That's going to be a project, because I'm going to have to do a lot of learning. That's a learning curve with a project and a learning curve. I'm going to have to learn how to use an Arduino, learn how to code an Arduino. Then I'm going to actually have to do some tests with the Arduino to control the digital potentiometer. Once I figure that out, then I'm going to have to use the schematic for the performance VCO and the tuner circuit for that and the tuner code for that in order to, get and set the tuning from there out. So that's going to be, you might not hear from me for a minute. If I start getting too focused on that, that might be one of these modules where I disappear for a month or two, and you just all of a sudden hear from me and like, hey, check this out. I haven't started working on it because there's a lot of thought behind it that I want to do before diving into a mystery build. I've got some Arduinos on hand though. They're right here. So I've got two Arduinos already on hand, which is perfect. Master slave. So I'll set these up, and I'll try to get something to work. If I can get them to tune based off of what they're hearing, basically I'm making an automatic tuner that follows the leader. So that's in the works. That's the next big project. I think that's gonna take all of my brain juice. And I did throw the full idea and all the like parts numbers. I've already set all of that out in text and everything. So, you guys are welcome to build it and show it to me if you got the energy or the know-how. I personally, that's a project that I want to build because I've got an oscillator that has 5 in it. I've got an oscillator module that has 5 voice VCOs inside of it, and I want to be able to tune all of them at the same time together. And what would be even cooler is if you programmed in, say, an offset, like use a rotary encoder, and you could set an offset. So you could tune one and they would all follow suit, but they would follow suit at an offset. That would also be kind of cool, right? So food for thought. But anyway, hope you guys have a great evening. I'm going to call it a day. I'm so pleased that this works with a replacement. This is supposed to be a little tiny thing, and it's not. It's a Big Bessie. So now we have a Big Bessie on a Big Bessie module. How about that? So I hope you guys take care. I will probably set up this stream for the OBA next week because I've got a dental appointment tomorrow. I got to have a molar taken out of my face. Not fun. I'm not looking forward to that. Anyway, you guys take it easy. I will holla at you. Take care. Bye bye then.